Hello there! Welcome to Polish Your English. I'm Anne, and honestly, I am absolutely thrilled to have you joining me today. You know, if you've ever found yourself pausing mid-sentence, just kind of wondering, wait, should I say me or my here? Or maybe second-guessing if hers is the right word instead of her? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to completely eliminate that guesswork. By the end of this explainer, you'll understand the brilliant, really quite logical connections behind English pronouns. It's all about getting you to stop second-guessing yourself and start speaking with total, effortless confidence. Right, shall we dive in?
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the core rules, then move on to real-life examples, followed by some pro tips. After that, we'll look at pronunciation, tackle common traps, and finish up with a quick practice task.
Section 1. Core Rules, the foundation of fluent speaking. To truly master pronouns, it actually just comes down to asking yourself one simple, logical question. What exact role does the person or thing play in the sentence? You see, English beautifully divides pronouns into 4 clear categories based on their job. Let's look at the first 2, which are all about action. On the left, we've got subject pronouns. You can think of these as the doers. They're the ones performing the action, and they usually stand proudly right at the beginning of your sentence, answering who or what. You know, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Now, over on the right, we have object pronouns. These are our receivers. They aren't doing the action. Rather, the action is happening to them. They answer questions like to whom or with whom, and you'll almost always spot them directly following a verb or a preposition, words like me, him, or us. So basically, I do something, but something is done to me. Makes sense, right?
Moving on, let's look at ownership. The difference between possessive adjectives and possessive pronouns is actually quite fascinating. On the left, we have words like my, your, and our. The absolute golden rule here is that these are incredibly clingy words. They absolutely must be followed immediately by a noun. They simply cannot bear to stand all by themselves. But take a look at the right side. Possessive pronouns, like mine, yours, and ours, have this fantastic superpower. They stand completely independently, usually right at the end of a sentence. We use them so we don't have to awkwardly repeat the same noun over and over again, like a broken record. Section 2. Real-life examples, from theory to practice. Now, understanding the rules is wonderful, but seeing them in action, that's where the real magic happens. Let's step out of the textbook for a moment and look at some everyday scenarios. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? That classic Monday morning office drama, staring blankly at the screen because you've locked yourself out of the system again. Notice the phrase here, my password. Because password is the noun, we absolutely must use the possessive adjective my right before it. It perfectly demonstrates that golden rule we just talked about, the adjective holding hands tightly with the noun. And look at how elegantly this next one builds. We usually test the new buggies in difficult terrain. Can I borrow yours for an hour? In the first part, we is the subject pronoun. They are the doers out there testing the buggies in the mud. But the real star of the show is at the end, yours. Instead of clumsily saying, can I borrow your buggy for an hour? We just use the standalone possessive pronoun yours. It just sounds so much more natural and fluent, doesn't it? Section 3. Pro tips, secrets to sound like a pro.
Okay, this is absolutely my favorite part. I am going to share some little insider grammar secrets with you. These pro tips are exactly what will instantly elevate your English from sounding like a hesitant beginner to a completely natural, confident speaker. First off, don't let the word you confuse you. In English, whether you're talking to one single person or a crowded room of 50 people, you is completely identical. Context is your best friend there. But the second tip? Oh, it is a brilliant strategy, especially if you're taking an exam or writing an important email. I call it the power of elimination. If you have a blank space followed immediately by a noun, you can be 100% sure you need a possessive adjective, like my or your. But if that blank space is sitting all alone at the very end of the sentence, boom, possessive pronoun. Mine, yours, ours, it literally works every single time.
Now, here is a rather crucial point about politeness. In British culture, manners are everything. And believe it or not, that absolutely applies to our grammar, too. When you are talking about yourself and other people, you must always put the other people first. Never, ever say, I and my friends. You must say, my friends and I. Put yourself last, and you will always be grammatically correct and impeccably polite.
Section 4. Pronunciation, polish the edges. So you know the rules, you know the tricks, but how do you actually make these tiny words sound natural when you're chatting? Well, if you have ever stressed over how to pronounce it's versus it is, or your versus you are, I have some wonderful news for you.
Take a deep breath and relax, because they sound absolutely identical in spoken English. Please don't try to pronounce them differently just to show off your grammar. Context and spelling are literally the only things that separate them. When you speak, just let them flow naturally.
And here's a lovely little insider secret for you. In fast, natural speech, native speakers are actually, well, quite lazy. We very often drop the H sound in him and her when those words aren't the main focus of the sentence. So I love him becomes a soft I love him. Tell her smoothly blends right into tell her. Try saying it out loud yourself right now. It instantly makes your rhythm sound so much more authentic.
Section 5. Common traps. Fixing tiny mistakes. Even advanced learners sometimes fall into these traps, so let's shine a light on them today to make sure you avoid those tiny little mistakes that can give away a bit of hesitation. This first one is a classic. Me and him bought a new buggy. Now that might sound okay when you're just chatting casually at the pub, but it is grammatically incorrect. Why? Well, because they are performing the action of buying. They are the doers, so we have to use subject pronouns. And do you remember our rule about British politeness? The other person always goes first. So beautifully and correctly, it becomes, he and I bought a new buggy.
Next up is the dreaded apostrophe trap. Look at the incorrect sentence. The bike lost its power, with an apostrophe. Because of that apostrophe, that actually translates to the bike lost its is power, which, let's be honest, makes absolutely no sense at all. Remember, when you're showing possession for an object or a machine, the word its has no apostrophe. I know it's a small detail, but getting it right in your writing makes you look incredibly professional.
Section 6. Practice task. The final challenge.
Brilliant work so far. We have officially reached our final section, and I want you to actively participate in this one. Let's test out your fantastic new skills together, shall we? I'll give you a sentence, and you try to fill in the blank. Here is your first scenario. This is my new project, and that one is blank. Now, we need to show that it belongs to her. Look closely at the position of the blank. It's right at the end, standing completely alone. Think back to our power of elimination rule. What exactly do we need here?
If you said hers, you are absolutely correct. Well done. Because it stands all alone without a noun following it, we use the possessive pronoun hers to avoid awkwardly repeating the word project. Let's try another one. We always check blank's oil level before writing the quad. The quad is a machine, right? And notice what comes immediately after the blank space. The noun, oil level. What type of word holds hands tightly with the noun?
The answer is its. And crucially, it is its without an apostrophe, because it's a possessive adjective showing ownership for the quad. Excellent job if you managed to keep that tricky apostrophe trap in mind.
All right, one last challenge to finish strong. My friends and blank are planning to open a new business. Think carefully about who is doing the action of planning here. And please don't forget our golden rule about British politeness. Spot on. The answer is I. You and your friends are the subjects performing the action. And because we always put others before ourselves, I goes right at the very end of the subject phrase. My friends and I. Beautifully done.
And just like that, you've completely mastered it. We've untangled the rules, explored real-life examples, learned some great pro tricks, and successfully dodged those sneaky traps. The logic of pronouns is entirely yours now. So let me leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to stop guessing, step out there, and start building your sentences fearlessly and with absolute full confidence? I certainly think you are. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep practicing, have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Cheers.